the man himself,
The man himself.
the myth, the legend. I'm with my man Joe. So me and Joe are doing something cool together where we just give information about training. Joe is an amazing trainer and has an amazing training ethic. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today was like the mindset around training. So Joe, what is your mindset around training? Like what goes on in your head when you're training or before training?
I look at training as like its own job. So when I go into training, everything else that has to do with the day is out there, and training is training. So there's goals or objectives, there's standards that has to be set to when you're training. And mentally, if you have anything from the outside that's gonna project anything to do with your training, you have to let it go. You can't bring it in with you at the gym. I've had it happen too many times where I've had an incident that happened outside mentally get to me and I came to train, and I've had times where my numbers didn't go up. I've had times where just the session was horrible. I had times where I grew mentally, and I knew that if I did go train when my head was in that space, I just leave the gym. I won't take the time to go have that session because you can get hurt, or 9 times out of 10 you're just not going to have the session that you want because your head's not where it has to be. When you go to train, it has to be the mentality of this is what I'm here to do, and there's nothing else that's going to stop me from doing it.
I like that. So I agree with that. I think what we want to clarify is there's a difference between working out and training.
Oh, I could not agree more.
I'm not knocking working out at all, but there's a difference. When you're training, there's something that you're aiming to get to. You're trying to get to a path. So, like Joe, my mindset around training is similar to Joe's, where this is a task that I'm about to do. I almost look at it as if it's a job.
It is.
I'm going to go punch in.
Yep.
Whatever the duration of my time is, I'm going to work as hard as I can that day. And that doesn't always mean that you're going to want to always train. We talked about it the other day. It doesn't mean every day you feel like you're like on top of the world.
Yeah.
Probably after a while you're not.
Yeah,
But
you get burnt out.
you develop a mindset by showing up when you don't want to show up, hitting those extra reps, checking your form. Joe is really, really big on form. And I love that, checking your form, but you develop the mindset. How I develop the mindset is just consistency.
Yeah.
Showing up, doing what you're supposed to do.
Even if you don't want to, you got to.
Even if you don't want to.
Yeah.
And marrying the basics. So what have you found recently has been different with your mindset of training with like all the stuff that's happened with the pandemic and all of that stuff?
Pandemic really didn't bother me. I just like it. Again, when it comes to training, like I've had the same mentality since I was like young. When it comes to training, it's like it's a job, it's a goal. So every time we go in, it doesn't matter the world again that's happening around us. Like when the pandemic hit, I was training in my house, doing the basics, but I was still going for numbers. There was still progressive overload. Form was still always like had to be perfect. I was recording my lips, making sure that I didn't just like go too fast or range. Like everything was still the same. I just wasn't in the gym. And I think it's important that people understand that like every time you have a session, doesn't matter where you are, what you're doing, you could be doing body weight stuff, you could be running, it doesn't have to be in the gym, but when you go to do this, it has to have, that mindset's gotta be there, man. You can't be half and half of this, or that's how your goals are gonna be, half and half, you know what I mean? If you come in here with 110% mentality, which I believe in every session, like we get one session, that's it. So today, I'm doing a push day. I'm not gonna get this day back. So if I go for my numbers today, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go for 10, and if I get 11, I'm just gonna stop at 10. I held myself back. So I believe that every session we give one opportunity for that session to grow, and if we don't take that opportunity, it's our fault. So you can't get mad at anybody else but yourself for not putting that 100% in. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like that. Something I always say is, you got to become what you're aiming to achieve. If you want to be stronger, like you have to become a stronger person.
Yeah.
Like you have to do hard tasks. You have to do weights that are hard, right? You have to do weights that challenge
like
you.
It never gets easier. You just get better. You just get better.
And I always say, we were talking the other day about squatting, and I was like, 225 still feels like 225.
Yeah.
Like it's not easier, but doing the hard things. But like you said, during the pandemic, finding a way to make it happen, finding a way to make it work. I think society is making things so easy, and we're taking out that that layer of hard work, and we're missing so much stuff. Like when people are nervous of working hard, and I think that's the biggest thing of a mindset, like being okay with working hard, and it not always feeling okay.
Yeah, honestly, when you go to train, you have to understand that it's going to be difficult, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's what you sign up for. Like if you want to change the way your body looks, get ready to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's just a process, man. Like every session that you go into, if there's progressive overload involved, getting stronger.
Yeah.
That working set never feels good. It's always a fight, because if last week you got 8 and you need 9 this week, when you get to 7, 8, you know 8's going to be a struggle because that's just what you got last week. So you have to push to 9. Again, it doesn't matter if it's chest, legs, or biceps on small. It's still a mindset thing where, like, when you get into that set, it has to be all or nothing, 100%. And again, if we don't give it that, don't complain when you don't get it back.
Yeah.